Welcome back to another new edition of Egypt's Parliament. And in this edition of Egypt's Parliament, we continue to shed the light on the latest activities that have taken place during this week inside the Parliament and different committees. We're very delighted to have with us Dr. Karim Darwish, as of course Member of Parliament and Deputy Chairman Foreign Relations Committee. Hello, Dr. Darwish, and welcome to Egypt's Parliament. Let's first shed the light on the latest activities for your committee during this week.
Thank you very much for hosting me, and we have had a very active week this last couple of weeks due to foreign delegations coming to Egypt, as well as visits from different embassies in Cairo on the ambassador's level to the Foreign Relations Committee. We had the deputy or the vice chairman of the Bundestag, the German Bundestag, visiting us here in Egypt for his first time. He's from the CDU party, the ruling party of Chancellor Angela Merkel, as well as we had the Stavros Lambrinidis from the EU Commissioner for Human Rights, as well as other delegations visiting the Parliament. And we had several ambassadors coming to us and visiting us in the Foreign Relations Committee. The ambassador of India, the ambassador of Azerbaijan, ambassador of Belgium. Several ambassadors were coming to Egypt to our committee to discuss with us and to have make stress on the bilateral relations between Egypt and their concerned countries, and also for us to shed some light on the new developments that are taking place in Egypt, in the Egyptian Parliament, as far as the economic file is concerned, the developments that are taking place over there, the new investment law that has been received today in Parliament that we are due to discuss in the next coming weeks and have some hearings, and a lot of other issues.
So a lot of points of mutual concern and issues are supposed to be discussed and taken through this visit. If you would like to elaborate on this.
Sure. This is a very important visit because you know the weight of Germany in Europe. And as a matter of fact, we have visited Germany 4 times since Parliament started to stress the importance about the relationship between Egypt and Germany in different files, whether it's economic, whether it's fighting terrorism. We talked definitely about the illegal migration. We talked about foreign direct investment. We talked about the tourism sector. If we take one of them, for example, like the tourism, we have seen that the number of tourists, German tourists, has risen in the last quarter of 2016. And of course, as the deputy chairman of the Bundestag mentioned, he said we have reached high levels by the end of the year, but still there is much more room to move upwards, and it's not still enough. And we have not regained yet the numbers prior to the 2 revolutions that took place in Egypt. And he said that Germany is very much interested in bringing the numbers back to that level and maybe exceed them as well. So on the tourism sector, there is a lot of things that are being done. There was also a note regarding the flying over the Sinai Peninsula that has been removed by the German side, which is another great step. And we have now charter flights going back and forth between different airports in Germany and different airports in Egypt as well. So in that regard, there are also ideas about having new kind of tourism, German tourism, coming to Egypt in the sense of bringing the retired couples and retired families maybe to come and spend some of their winter vacation, which is harsh in Europe, and as you know, here we have very mild weather. Exactly. And it's sad, we always mention this, it's really it's a win-win situation. You will have perfect weather, perfect service, facilities that are none like anywhere else, and it's a very close place. You don't need to travel. And secure country.
Unlike other European countries.
Definitely. And they have actually, Germany was never banning tourism to Egypt like other countries do, unfortunately, and I hope that there will be a change in that file very soon, because we have felt that it's unjustified, to be very honest, and things have been dragging all the time, and we have tried, and we have sort of answer to most of their questions, and still things have not really been back to normal yet. And we hope that this checklist they are using will have an end, because we always tell them, whenever we fulfill your checklist, we find that it's still continuing and you still have new items that were never been discussed before. So this is as far as the tourism sector is concerned. We talked also about the investment law and the new investment law that's coming to Parliament to be heard and to be discussed within the committees and then in the general session, the plenary. Because definitely we need, it's a big competition, and the investor will only go to places where he can feel really that the whole legal atmosphere is supporting him, and that he is having an investment climate, not just an investment law, an investment climate that really supports him and makes him really keen on investing in this country. So definitely the investment law, and as you know, Minister Sahar Nasr is now in charge of the Ministry of Investment. And I think with her background and with her portfolio and with her ability to talk the same language as investors, they really she really is able to cross a lot of bridges easily. I think there will be progress in that regard. We have bureaucracy in our investment laws, unfortunately. This has to be changed. I have made my thesis in my master's 25 years ago about the one-stop shop in the GAFI, in the General Authority for Investment, and this was 1991. It was in my master's degree, and it has not matured till today. It's taking a lot of time. I mean, this one-stop shop where the investor can go and get all his licenses, all his permits, should be implemented as soon as possible. And I believe that President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi, when he initiated the Supreme Council for Investment, had this in the background, that it has to make sure that the bureaucracy should go to the lowest level possible.
President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi held talks with visiting German Chancellor Angela Merkel at Al-Ittihadiyya Palace in Cairo on Thursday, during which they probed means of fostering bilateral ties in various fields and discussed a number of regional and international issues of mutual concern, including ways of slowing illegal migration to Europe and combating terrorism. At a joint press conference, al-Sisi reiterated that Egypt was looking forward for a bright future to its citizens, being supported by its traditional partners, including Germany. The head of state confirmed that both sides had agreed on promoting ties in various fields, hailing distinguished bilateral ties. Al-Sisi noted that many German companies are currently contributing in carrying out Egyptian national projects, adding that the two countries are coordinating efforts which reflects the strength of the distinguished relations that bind the two nations and depend on mutual respect and fruitful cooperation. In this respect, he said he had informed the German Chancellor with the steps taken by Egypt in the past 3 years in order to achieve political stability and economic development, in addition to people's achievements to consolidate the cornerstone of the modern civil state and issue a constitution which safeguards freedoms in the way that preserve Egypt's identity. The President referred to the brave economic reform program which had been agreed on with the International Monetary Fund, in addition to mega and national projects being implemented. He reiterated that Egypt is keen on realizing human rights. Al-Sisi said the two sides had agreed to coordinate efforts to settle so many crises hitting the Middle East region through peaceful and political solutions, notably the Syrian and Libyan crises. For her part, Merkel said the two countries had agreed to coordinate efforts to fight terrorism and solve problems of the borders. She promised to support Syrian refugees who are in bad need for help. Meanwhile, the two leaders inaugurated a video conference at 3 electricity stations being carried out in cooperation with German company Siemens at a cost of €6 billion. Minister of Electricity Dr. Mohammed Shakir al-Marqabi attended the inauguration. During her visit, Merkel also met with Grand Imam of Al-Azhar, Al-Imam Al-Akbar, Sheikh Ahmed Al-Tayyib, as well as Pope Tawadros II, the Pope of Alexandria, and the head of the Coptic Egyptian Church. Joined by a business delegation, she also held talks with a number of economic specialists, businessmen, and civil society representatives. Up to 250 German companies are working in Egypt, providing nearly 35,000 work opportunities in the fields of chemical industries, renewable energy, and information technology.
Practically speaking, do you think the one-stop shop could be taken at a one step and could be effected on real ground without no consequences, no challenges, no burdens, nothing come in the way, because you cannot eradicate bureaucracy with only one step. I mean, let's be realistic.
I couldn't agree more. I fully agree with you, and that's why we
I mean, aren't there any other solutions prior to the one-stop shop so that we can, I mean, take steps, I mean, further steps?
maybe
We don't want to dream big.
Absolutely, absolutely. Maybe what you touched upon is very correct. You cannot eradicate bureaucracy just like that and by scratch. It's not going to happen like that. And that's why we need to change the culture itself, and we need to create the environment climate, the investment climate that would be understanding to how to help the investor, not to put hinders in front of the investor. And this is a culture that we should definitely work on and try to get into the new generations in order for them to be definitely the hope in the future that we see complete eradication of the bureaucracy. The bureaucracy has definitely different aspects and different sides. One of them was the permits for the land, for example, and I think this we can do. This is something we can achieve. It needs a coordination and a strong will, but it can be done. On other things, definitely it will take some more time, and definitely we can reach at some point. But it is very good that we know that we have some kind of problem that we address, and we start looking for different solutions. And when you know there is a problem, you definitely will reach a solution, as long as there is a sincere will in solving it.
You raised a very important point, which is bureaucracy, and you kindly reminded us of the earlier the limited cabinet reshuffle that took place earlier, and the 9 ministers who were sworn in before His Excellency the Prime Minister. But also a very important element should be taken into concern, which is not only a change of a minister could be requested to effect change, to face challenges, to face bureaucracy, but also we should have a concern. I mean, the administration and the government should have in concern the team who is accompanying the minister. If the changing of a minister is not accompanied by a complete makeover of the team who is accompanying him and working with him, assisting him, then there are great doubts that change could be effected.
I couldn't agree more. If I may,
do you see the situation like that?
Let's start by saying, and even amongst the ministers themselves, there has to be a team spirit and a teamwork.
Exactly.
It's not allowed that 2 ministers don't talk with each other. It's not. It can't work. You cannot succeed. And that's why I think when the Prime Minister came with the reshuffle, it was to make sort of an addition to the cabinet, and to make sure that the teamwork spirit is there between all of them. And talking about that, it is a reshuffle. He thinks that this will sort of enhance the performance of the cabinet. It's his decision, and as you mentioned correctly, it's not a complete cabinet, it's just a reshuffle. So he, in doing so, believes that he will be performing better. We will wait and see, and then we will judge accordingly, maybe by June of this year, whether this reshuffle has really managed to improve the performance of the government, or it didn't. And The point that you raised, which is very interesting, is that the minister has to have with him the calibers that help him and that do support him within his ministry.
Since we were talking about the one-stop shop, this can never be effected without a whole collaborative team who is efficient and who could be free of bureaucracy, corruption, and everything. It couldn't be only one minister.
It couldn't be only one minister. I fully agree with you. It couldn't be only one minister, but maybe we should add to that some of the ministers, unfortunately, have their hands tied. And
why is that?
Because
this has been causing a lot of problems.
This has been causing a lot of problems, and this is an issue that has to be discussed very open, because we have seen that some of the previous ministers have been accused of false accusations, and they have been sent to trials, and they were freed afterwards. So this created a kind of how shall we say it, kind of resistance maybe, or kind of the new ministers are hesitant to really take courageous decisions in order to change things, because they are afraid from what happened to their predecessors. This is something that needs to be changed, because without taking courageous decisions, without taking really the decisions that make the difference, nothing can change. Not even changing the whole cabinet will make a difference.
Exactly. But some economic analysts say that the Ministry of International Cooperation is working on some scale, and the Ministry of Investment is working on another different scope. They both work on different ways, but at the end of the day, they fall into the same basket, and to the best interest of the economic situation of the whole country. Do you agree or you don't agree?
Well, I think that Minister Sahar Nasr has done a great job in her capacity as Minister of International Cooperation. And I believe that she understands the investment portfolio very well. And from what I heard from her announcements and from her statements, she said, I think we have finished, or we have succeeded enough in attracting enough loans for Egypt, so we will close this file for now, and we will concentrate on foreign direct investment. This balance is very important, and this balance is definitely needed for Egypt. I mean, I'm sure she will carry on working as efficient as she is in getting grants to Egypt, because this is something that is definitely in continuation. But the loan aspect maybe should be minimized as much as possible, and she agrees about that as well. On the other hand, the foreign direct investment, and she is very capable in this file as well. This is the file that I mean, all of us Egyptians, parliamentarians, cabinet, government, even normal Egyptians should be focusing on how to attract foreign direct investment, how to make sure that we support the core economy itself. In injecting foreign direct investment to support the core economy, not depending on any other outside factors.
Minister of Investment and International Cooperation Sahar Nasr announced that Berlin will grant Cairo $250 million as part of a bilateral agreement to support its economic program. Addressing the German-Egyptian Business Forum, the minister said that Germany is considered an important economic partner, expressing hope that the coming stage would witness an expansion of German investments in Egypt. Nasr said that Egypt owns a strategic location which enables it to be a gate for German investors into the African market. The minister noted that Egypt was currently working on finalizing a number of legislations on financial mechanisms to make the investment atmosphere more conducive, noting that a priority is given to small and medium enterprises and expanding the financing of macro projects. Nasr said that Egypt was exerting also its utmost efforts to end bureaucracy and raise the skill of its workers and laborers. The forum was attended by German Minister of Trade and Energy and German head of the German Industrial and Trade Chamber Union, in addition to a number of businessmen from both countries. The German minister said the previous stage had witnessed strong trials by both countries to consolidate their economic ties, which were presented and represented in a visit paid by President Abdel Fattah el-Sisi to Berlin in 2015, followed by 3 times visit by the German Minister of International Cooperation to Egypt. The German minister noted that the German business community supports ties with Egypt, hailing the Egyptian economic reform program. He said that Egypt is considered the most important economic partner to Germany in Africa, with a trade volume that reached 5.5 billion euros, with an increase of 10% in the previous year alone. The minister added that up to 250 German companies are working in Egypt, providing nearly 35,000 work opportunities in the fields of chemical industries, renewable energy, and information technology.
You talked about the Supreme Council of Investment that was initiated by President Sisi and executed by the former Minister of Investment, Dr. Dalia Khorshid. It's true that Dr. Dalia Khorshid haven't succeeded in securing Egypt that much of loans and grants that Dr. Sahar Nasr have succeeded in, but at least the Supreme Council of Investment was founded and it was very efficient. How important is that particular council to the economy in Egypt, and how far could we be able to utilize it in the coming phase with the new minister?
Definitely, I believe that initiating this Supreme Council for Investment was...
what is it working on?
It was the vision from the president
sure.
to minimize bureaucracy as much as possible. Because unfortunately, we have this problem that permits and approvals come from different areas and from different ministries. And the whole idea behind this Supreme Council for Investment was to get all the concerned ministers and governmental bodies in one place in order to really for them to sit together and sort of try to get away from this normal bureaucracy
and minimize the gaps and rifts
and save time as well, and save time. This is I mean, an investor who goes to one country, he wants to work right away. He doesn't want to wait till things change. And maybe it is worthwhile to say here that the labor law is also something that we have to look upon very much, because some of the investors have concerns about the labor law. This is something that needs to be revisited. The free floating of the Egyptian pound was very much welcomed by the international business community and the international investors, because this is a step that has been taking much of discussions, and at least at the end it was executed. In another side, we have to also think how to bring the informal economy into the formal economy, or the shadow economy into the formal economy, because there is a lot of potential over there, and this potential unfortunately is not being utilized for the best of the country, whether as far as the employment or the taxes or the other issues are concerned.
Right. When Prime Minister Sharif Ismail was asked about this limited cabinet reshuffle, he talked and said that the government, this latest limited reshuffle comes only into the aim of economic and social reform. I mean, comes within the economic and social reform plans. How does it come within the economic and social reform plans, and how could it help in this particular plan of the government in the near future?
No, I'm not sure I'm following the question.
He talked about the limited cabinet reshuffle. Yes. It is a reshuffle that comes within the economic and social reform plan. Okay. I mean, it's going to boost the economic and social reform plan. How do you think that's going to happen?
Well, I think what he meant by that he was unhappy maybe with the performance or the level of performance done before, and he sees that this should be done on a much bigger scale and in a much efficient way, much more efficient way. And also the speed maybe was not up to his standards, and he wanted to see more speedy ways. Definitely when talking about the social aspect, this is a very important side, because we know that the latest economic decisions that have taken place have definitely had an effect on the lower strata of the Egyptians with the less income, and they have seen price increases that need to be adjusted by social programs in order to lift this burden from their shoulders. So definitely what has taken place is important, but also keeping the balance on the other side is very important. And I think by that the government and the cabinet has a major role to play in making sure that the subsidies are filtered and are really going to the needed most persons in the Egyptian society, in order for them to benefit from it, and not for others. I mean, we always say a joke whenever we have an ambassador. We tell him, your car takes the same price of gas like any other normal Egyptian, and it couldn't be like that. I mean, it's definitely something that has to be focused on, that the all the economic decisions that have taken place and that are in the right direction do not affect the people with less income in the society and put a lot of burden on them. So the subsidy is something that is a main topic in the government and in the parliament as well, how to tackle it in the most efficient way, whether it should be carry on like that or we change it into a different kind of subsidy, maybe giving cash to the families in need. Different scenarios are taking place at the moment.
Actually, this limited cabinet reshuffle is a little bit sensitive and different from all the other ones, maybe because each of these 9 ministers and the 5 governors and the 1 female governor among them have a special situation, because they will be all, once they step in office, they're going to be in the hot seat. Maybe because people are expecting a lot during this very, very harsh time and the harsh economic reforms that had to be taken. And maybe because of the so many responsibilities over their shoulder, once they step in, they have to fulfill it and prove efficiency or otherwise. So if you like to elaborate on this.
I fully support what you said, because for them to take the decision and to accept being a minister at that specific time is, as you mentioned, something that puts them a little bit at risk, because there is a lot of expectations and a lot of questions that need to be answered.
Especially that they had other people who failed.
Exactly.
Who tried and failed.
That's very true. Nevertheless, they are fighters, and one of them is our ex-colleague, Dr. Ali Salhi, Minister of Supply, and he was a successful minister, as a matter of fact, and a very successful head of committee when he was chairing the economic committee here in Parliament. And I believe that he went into this cabinet with ideas. He didn't go because he was going to start something from scratch or from he has ideas, and he definitely will implement them once he's there. And I couldn't agree more that there is a lot of focus on this new cabinet in achieving results as early as possible, and this is in line, or should be also in line with all the others who are still in office. I mean, it should all work parallel together. I think that more coordination will be between the ministers in the coming months to succeed.
Hopefully. Going back to your committee, sir, you talked about, or you mentioned several late visit or earlier visit to the European Parliament.
Yes.
The last one was where?
We went to Belgium to meet with them, because actually we heard, or we got news that there would be a hearing about Egypt over there. And we want to be present when this takes place. And we were very frank in telling them, well, from 2011 till 2015, we have seen several, about 14 resolutions against Egypt. And this was maybe due to the fact that there was no parliament and you had no counterpart to talk to. Now we want to fill this gap and we want to be present in all these discussions, and this has started with the beginning of the parliament in 2016, and since then I think we have seen only maybe one resolution or something like that, and the relationship has matured very much. And in this hearing we were able to give them the clear and the right picture about what's taking place in Egypt. We're working on a lot of files at the same time. We're facing problems from different sides of Egypt. I mean, we have our borders with Libya, we have our borders with Sudan, we have the problems in the northeast side of Sinai. So in a country with all this threat coming from different sides, we have illegal migration. We have some of the Daesh or Qaeda or whatever groups are in northeast of Sinai trying to send some false signals and to create a kind of instability in this small part of Egypt that is unfortunately sometimes reflected in the international media wrongly. Because if you look at it, it's a very small area of northeast of Sinai that has this trouble. While the 600 kilometers of the peninsula, there is nothing over there except this small corner up in the north. And unfortunately, when it is reflected in the international media, they talk about Sinai. They don't say it's
the northern part.
The northern part, or maybe one
that is evacuated and a buffer zone is affected also.
Exactly. So definitely, we're telling them how many migrants we have here, how many refugees we have here from different countries, and we host them and we don't build shelters for them. No, they're living amongst us as Egyptians. They are taking the same subsidies as Egyptians do. They are taking job opportunities from the Egyptians, which we do luckily because we have this kind of regional role to play with our neighbors, with our fellow Arab neighbors, that we definitely support them in time of need, and we will carry on to do that. But definitely, no doubt, this is creating a burden on the Egyptian economy. Nobody can deny something like that.
Right. Talking about also the role of your committee, you said that during your last visit to Belgium, you had a great deal as a committee coming from the parliament who specialized in particular in conveying or delivering one of the misconceptions, correcting the misconceptions.
There are a lot of misconceptions, but we are working on that. I agree with you.
That draws the attention to the importance of your committee inside the parliament. Maybe you are playing one of the most important vital roles inside the Egyptian parliament, which is, and right now, speaking of right now, the misconceptions that are taking over Egypt. So if you'd like to elaborate.
You're absolutely right. There are a lot of misconceptions, and these misconceptions are sometimes due to the fact that there was no counterpart to talk to. So unfortunately, the source was either the media or wrong channels they were getting the information from. So what we are stressing all the time is we are the channel that you should come to first, please, when asking about something about Egypt. Please keep us always on the top of your list in asking questions, whatever it takes. We will not hide anything. We know we're not perfect in a lot of areas, but we're trying, and we're trying very hard. We know that things need to be improved in a lot of fields, but we need to support each other in order to reach that. And these misconceptions, and this is the good thing, have borne fruit. These misconceptions have been changed, and we are now filling the gap that was there, and we have bear fruit in a lot of our relations with delegations. We saw the difference between their first visit and now when we meet with them, and how it changed the language between us, and the differences between us is you will be amazed to see how we came closer, and how things are definitely developing in a very positive direction. This is a very important role of the Foreign Relations Committee that we take very serious, because they also take very serious, because they know we are the representatives of the people. We speak what the people say on the street. We're not obliged, we're not the government.
And you were elected also.
Exactly, we're not obliged to say anything. We don't have a written instruction to say this and this and that. And let's, for example, we had a meeting with an ambassador lately, and we told them we feel that unfortunately things on your side are not moving in the right direction, regardless of what we do. For example, we have been asking for the return of the tourism to Egypt from your country, and this has not been done yet, because whenever you ask for something and it is fulfilled, you come with another demand. So this is what the people are saying on the street.
And that country said earlier that that decision is politicized, that has nothing to do with the travel ban. Now we can guess the name of that country. Without you mentioning it.
Yes. In other aspects, I mean, like we have the lady ambassador of Denmark lately in the committee, and she's a very active person. She has been here only, I think, for 3 months or something like that, and she has done a lot from what we hear from the business community, for example. And we are trying, or we are insisting now on putting the Egyptian exports on our agenda when talking to foreign ambassadors, promoting the export of Egyptian products into the markets and getting...
Good idea.
Absolutely. It's not that we are limited to the classic role of the foreign relations.
So you're not limited to any front? You're open to all fronts.
Absolutely. We talk even about human rights, and we told them we are working on that, and we have a lot of issues to take care of as far as human rights is concerned, and we need to work together in order to reach the standards that we wish to get there. But if you ask anyone on the street, his first priority would be potable water, good education, good health care, and these are the minimum that we should be offering them.
Right. One of the misconceptions, or one of the important issues that probably you might be having in your concern while you're traveling abroad and reflecting and representing the Egyptian Parliament, is democracy. Probably you're doing a great effort to be able to deliver how democracy is taking course in Egypt, and how there are many misconceptions that are created by media outlets to be able to crush the idea of that there is ongoing democracy, working democracy in Egypt. So if you would like to talk about this.
In that file in particular, we always refer to two incidents, or two specific cases. One of them is, for example, the youth conference that has taken place lately in Sharm el-Sheikh. And we always stress that this whole idea of this youth conference is completely new to the Egyptian political culture. The Egyptian political culture is not used to having the president sitting in the row of the audience and the youth taking the podium and having the microphone and saying their views and discussing things in front of him. And even the media has had a session as well in that conference, and they were discussing things extremely free. And if this has happened before in one era or the other, I tell you, out of knowing, it was always that the questions and answers were given to the people. While this didn't find place in Sharm el-Sheikh, it was a completely free discussions. Nobody was given any instructions what to say or not what to say. There were no lead lines whatsoever. So it was an open discussion, very free, without ifs and buts whatsoever. And the president was sitting, taking notes of what's being said. And at the end of the conference, he took these notes and made sort of the agenda that will be the outcome and the resolutions of that conference. On another file, when we talk, for example, about the Regini case, which has created a lot of misconceptions and misunderstandings, unfortunately. And here I have to say that when we talk to our Italian friends, they tell us, well, we got our information from the media. So unfortunately, some of
Which media? The local media?
the local media, the international media, and from different media sources. And this has happened before, and now they are talking to us, so they are getting the information pre-hand from us, and they are getting complete transparency from the general prosecutor in that regard. And we tell them there was an incident that took place in Sharabiya, as you know, the case of Magdi Makin, and a police officer was charged and he was sent to trial, and our Human Rights Committee, as well as different members from Parliament, were attending to make sure that things go as democratic as possible, and whatever has been done by anybody, there is nobody above the law. He will be charged. So this is to say, even if it's a police officer, he's not above the law. He will be charged. He will be sent to trial. So we have nothing to hide, but it is premature to say anything about any case without having the exact 100, I can't say 100, over 90% correct information in order to give a judgment.
Right. Given the fact that there are many cases, flagrant cases of brutality in Western superpower countries,
Exactly.
that are concerning the police departments, and we all know that.
There are also, unfortunately, a lot of flagrant cases in European countries regarding Egyptians that has not been solved till today. So some cases remain unsolved. This is not what we hope. This is not what we are targeting. We hope that it will be solved and that it will be as soon as possible solved. But nevertheless, it remains a fact that some of the cases remain unsolved, and we have a lot of incidents like what happened to people, one of our very famous actresses in a European country, and it has been repeated, and other Egyptians have been facing the same fate, and their cases were never resolved in other European capitals. So,
right. Until this very moment. That's very much true. Going back to the economic file, you were kindly informing us that the investment law is being studied and reviewed for enactment inside the parliament. Do you think that with the enactment of this law at its best, all the challenges would be eliminated in the course or in front of investment flowing over to Egypt? What else? What other requires that we are supposed to keep our eyes on in order to attract investment and take off towards a booming economic map?
Well, as far as the investment law is concerned, I know for a fact that having this investment law was not just the work of the minister, and I think the Ministry of Investment has included a lot of business associations, chambers of commerce, and businessmen associations in their discussions, getting their views, getting their input, and listening to what is their main problems, and in order to get their feedback in preparing this law. We will definitely have similar hearings in Parliament in order for us to also try to have another input and a much wider law that would cover as much as possible from the previous problems that were facing investors. 100%, nothing is 100%. It will be there, and maybe we will need to adjust it if it's proven that some small or some of the what's included in the law needs to be adjusted to have a better investment environment. And this applies to any law, as a matter of fact. Any law that is taking place and that is being discussed and that's being passed by the Parliament, when implemented, and if there is a need to change that law, this is something that this is our job. This is one of our jobs, as a matter of fact, to make sure that the different laws are bearing the most fruit possible from having them. And I don't want to say it will be a trial and error, because we try to avoid a lot of problems, but Should there be any kind of needed adjustment, this is definitely something that we should work on.
Another important element that is taking too much debate, which is the subsidy system. Now we are in a period that the system is transforming from the food subsidies to cash subsidies. With the new minister coming, Dr. Ali Musalhi, of Minister for Supply and Internal Trading, of course he has a lot of effort to be able to, first of all, try to work around the advantages of both systems to be able to deliver or make the poorest segments benefit from both systems, the food subsidies and the cash subsidies. How important is working hard and effecting success on that particular sector, the subsidies?
This is a very important aspect of his profile, Minister Ali Musalhi, because there is a lot of the government budget going into that file, and unfortunately it is not felt by a lot of Egyptians, because when you have a big amount that is sort of given to a big number, the result, each one will get a very limited outcome out of that. And therefore there is this idea of shifting into cash subsidies in order to really target the most needed strata of the Egyptian economy, to have this in the best possible way given and delivered to them. Of course, this is not an easy process, but it is a needed one in order to also try and have the budget sort of relieved one way or the other. Because a lot of these subsidies, unfortunately, are not directed to the needed ones, and the ones who are in need are not getting enough. So it's a dilemma in one way or the other.
Well, Dr. Karim Darwish, would like to thank you very much for your valuable time talking to us. Dr. Karim Darwish, Member of Parliament and Deputy Chairman, Foreign Relations Committee. Would like to thank you, sir.
Pleasure to be with you. Thank you for having me.
Thank you, and this is where we end this edition of Egypt's Parliament. Many thanks to all of you, and until we see you again next week, that's a goodbye.